Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Melissa. My topic is the flu vaccine, and my proposition is that the flu vaccine fails to effectively prevent the flu. So I'm going to start off by giving you a little background on how they make the vaccine. So the virus is injected, and this is for most vaccines in general, not just the flu, but it's injected into fertilized hen's eggs. It's then incubated so it can replicate. It's harvested, and then when it's harvested, it's extracted, and the virus is killed or inactivated, which they purify it and then basically put that into a vaccine. So the main claims I'm going to be making, that the virus can mutate, that the vaccine contains harmful substances, and that repetitive vaccination results in a more ineffective vaccine. So the FDA Commissioner, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, says that the flu virus has the ability to change rapidly as it circulates, which comes from the mutation. So if it mutates, then the vaccine is no longer effective. Dr. Edward Bolongia, he's an infectious disease epidemiologist at Marshfield Clinic Research Institute, stated that while growing the flu virus for vaccines, the current strain that we see now, the H3N2, which has been prevalent in previous years, but more so this year, it mutates to adapt with the eggs, which results in the vaccine mismatch. And so since the mutation cannot be modified once it's once you get the vaccine, you're not going to get a second vaccine in the current season. And so if the flu has mutated, then your vaccine is completely ineffective. My next point is that the vaccine contains harmful substances. So I don't know if any of you are actually aware, but if you look at the CDC's website, you can actually find what's inside, not only just the flu shot, but in a lot of vaccines. And the CDC reported that some of the common substances found in them are aluminum, formaldehyde, MSG, and mercury-containing preservatives, which, a lot of you would see just a clear flu shot and not think that any of those would be in there, but those stay in your body and have long-term health benefits that they don't like to talk about. And then lastly, repetitive vaccination results in more ineffective vaccines. So that same doctor that I referred to earlier, Dr. Bolongia, he led a team of scientists who did a study that concluded that children who had been vaccinated over a period of 5 years were more likely to contract the flu than kids who were only vaccinated in the first season. So the vaccine was significantly more effective if they had not been vaccinated at all in the previous 5 years. So one thing that he did conclude that was interesting was that many vaccines require multiple doses to be considered effective, like the HPV one for women, you need 3 doses of that for it to be considered fully functioning. But with the flu vaccine, we found that with multiple years of the shot, it actually decreases the effectiveness. So in conclusion, my main claim was just that the flu vaccine fails to effectively prevent the flu in all aspects. Thank you.
All right, in case you guys forgot, I do offer comments after each speech, and we're going to let the video run so you'll get to hear the comments again. Melissa, the proposition is very clearly identified at the beginning of the speech. The background information on how the flu virus or flu vaccines are prepared is fine. It gives us some context to understand where other problems might be coming from down the road, so that's good. You actually do have a pretty solid preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. I think you could use some numerical signposts on those, but for the most part, it was easy to follow. When you got to the first supporting point, though, in the body of the speech, you didn't repeat what that main point was. I can remember I'm paying attention, but remember you're talking to an audience, and as we've mentioned before, listening is different than reading, so you want to make an extra effort to make sure that that is clear. You basically started off with the quote from Dr. Gottlieb instead of telling us what the claim is that Dr. Gottlieb's quote is going to support. I thought that you did a good job citing experts in the beginning part of the speech and quoting them effectively to illustrate the problems that you had on the first point. That's fine. The second point concerning harmful substances was a little bit problematic. First of all, because that doesn't really address the issue of the effectiveness of the vaccine. It addresses maybe whether or not there's some other possible harms or dangers from taking the vaccines. But when you talked about it, you gave us a list of substances that are included in that, and you said, and they don't usually like to talk about that because of the long-term health benefits. And I'm going, wait a second, if they're health benefits, why is that not something that we want to know? I assume that you meant to say the long-term negative health consequences. But without telling us what those consequences are, I don't know why I should be worried about aluminum, MSG, or any of those other sorts of things being in my vaccine. Did I know that they were in there? No. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know that I take into my body. Almost all the food I consume, I generally don't read the labels that much, although sometimes I look at them. But there are people who have to worry about those kinds of things. So if there's an argument that says that those things are dangerous, you need to present that argument. I think also that you need to kind of justify that by changing your proposition a little bit, because that second point is not really relevant to the main claim, which is just about effectiveness. You could maybe make it a more generic statement about how there are substantial drawbacks to the flu vaccine. The first one is that they are less efficient than they should be. The second one is that there are harmful substances, and then it would all fit in together pretty well. Your third point I thought you explained pretty well, although the study that you cite it's fine, and I don't know how statistically significant the less effectiveness was. If that's in the data, it would probably be best to present that. And that was the main thing that I found missing in your supporting information, is information about, for example, you're saying that the vaccine's ineffective. So here's the first piece of information that I'm looking for that I never get. How many people got the vaccine and ultimately got the flu? That would be the piece of information that would most directly prove the point that you're trying to make, and it's something that's missing in the presentation. A couple of presentation suggestions for you. You have a tendency to hold your hands behind your back. You look a little bit like, you're reciting a poem in the third grade, and you want to be a little bit more engaged that way. And you have a tendency to read. You can talk to us. We don't bite, Okay? All right. Thank you.